Hey everyone, I'm Patina and welcome to Patterna. What is Patterna, you ask? I like to call it Minesweeper with way too many mechanics. It released a couple of days ago on Steam and itch.io, or you can get it directly on the developer's website, and there's also a demo available. On top of that, the developer was kind enough to provide me with an extra key which I will give away to you, so if you want to win a free copy of the game, check out the YouTube description below this video. So it's called Patterna, and this is what it looks like. It's a puzzle game. It evolves around nodes, which are the circle thingies, and edges, which are the connection between those nodes, so these lines here. And it's somewhat similar to Minesweeper, because every node can either be a pattern node, which are the light gray ones with the spinning cock, or non-pattern nodes, which are the ones with the non-spinning black cock on them. And the other ones are unknown nodes. And the goal of the game is to figure out if those unknown nodes are either pattern nodes or non-pattern nodes. And the game gives you clues similar to Minesweeper, where in Minesweeper, where you get like a number on a tile, it says how many mines are in the tiles adjacent to this tile. Well, this is one of the mechanics this game uses, but there are like 3 or 4 other besides that. And it's just a couple of different, like a bunch of different mechanics to give you hints and clues about the game. Also, one important difference to Minesweeper, let's just mention this now. In Minesweeper, you sometimes have to guess, like you cannot deduce any reliable info. In this game, this will never be the case. In every situation, there is a way to figure out to unlock at least one other node, which will potentially reveal another clue, which will lead to the solution of the puzzle. So you never, if you're clever enough, you never have to randomly guess. Okay, let's talk about the mechanics, shall we? So the first one I want to talk about is the one that works very similar to the one in Minesweeper. If you have a non-pattern node with a number on it and a blue circle around it, that means that nodes connected to this node will have exactly this number of pattern nodes, or this node will have exactly this number of pattern nodes connected to it. Sorry for the mixed up words. So this means that all the nodes connected to this one, exactly one of them will be a pattern node. Now you might have noticed there are arrows on the edges sometimes, and on some of them, and this indicates a one-way direction. So from this node I can reach this one, so this is connected to this node, but not the other way around. So there are 2 nodes connected to this one and this one. This, however, is shown revealed, however. So the number, like all the clues, always hint at unrevealed nodes. So if there is a revealed node already, it will ignore it. So in all the unrevealed nodes, in distance 1 to this node, we'll have exactly one pattern node. There is only one in this case, so it's very obvious and trivial in this case, but that's obviously not for all the clues. That's not the case for all the clues. So in this case, we only have one pattern node, one connected node, and that has to be a pattern node because this clue says so. So we left click it, and there we go, it's a pattern node. Everything was right. Now you can see what I said earlier, like the numbers reflecting the unrevealed nodes. So the 1 just changed to a 0 because there are no unrevealed nodes close, or no unrevealed nodes close to it anymore, or connected to it anymore, which means there are no unrevealed pattern nodes anymore to it, obviously, because if there are no nodes, there can be no pattern nodes, obviously. So there are some nice UI things in this game. So first of all, you saw it already, I clicked the clue or the hint earlier, and it selects and highlights all the nodes that can be possibly be affected by this clue. So nodes we can get information about from this clue directly, which is a very nice feature. You can also click on multiple clues and it will highlight them in different colors, which is quite nice, and they can overlap as well, and then it does the stripey thing, which is a very useful feature. Because it makes it way easier to see which nodes are connected, which is especially important because, as mentioned, there are those arrow nodes, arrow edges, which are one-way connections, and also because there are some of the clues are more convoluted than this one. So there's another very good feature, which is I can now right-click this clue, which will gray it out, because I don't actually need it anymore. I got all the information from it I can possibly get, because it only affects nodes directly connected to this one. And both of the directly connected nodes are revealed already. So I can right click it, which will grayed out, and can completely ignore it from now on. So the UI, the in-game UI is actually pretty good and helps quite a bit, because the puzzle seems a little confusing and complex at first, but the UI is really helpful in guiding you or helping you to keep the overview. And solving this step by step. Another feature of the UI is down here. I will talk about this stuff later, but down here you can see the number of unrevealed nodes total, 21 in this case, and the number of unrevealed pattern nodes. So out of those 21 unrevealed nodes, 10 will be pattern nodes. That's always important to check as well. Okay, so let's do another simple example. Okay, so this node has 3 nodes directly connected to it, and the clue says that none of those will be a pattern node. So we can just right-click all of them, and it will, and this will, well, solve this clue basically. So we can disable it. Right-clicking marks the nodes as non-pattern nodes. Oh, by the way, you cannot, if you do a mistake, it's not like in Minesweeper where you can mark a tile as wrongly. Like you can put a flag on a tile to say indicate that there is a mine, even though there is none. This is not possible in this game. If you right click or left click and your choice is wrong, the screen will flash red for a second, or for a split second, I guess, and then you can continue playing, and you know you made a mistake, and it will count those mistakes, and the goal is to solve it without making any mistakes. So that's important to keep in mind. So you might have noticed that besides the one with one blue circle, there are also nodes with more than one blue circle, like this one. And if we select it, you see it it highlights way more than just the adjacent nodes or the directly connected nodes. 2 circles means that it affects or gives hints about all the nodes connected, like even indirectly, up to a distance 2. Like if you're unsure what a clue exactly means, it's always a good idea to check the tooltips down in the lower right. They're usually pretty good. So in this case, it says the number of unrevealed pattern nodes that are within distance 2 of this node is exactly 2. And that means, like, okay, we can reach this one. Like, we have to start from here, and all the nodes we can access by just going 2 steps are the ones that are affected here. And 2 of them will be pattern nodes, and all the other ones will be non-pattern nodes. So 1, 2 is one of the nodes, 1, 2 is another one, but this one is revealed already, so those are not highlighted. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So all of those, this one would be 3, obviously, so you see how this goes. And we don't go in this direction because it's a one-way edge. So 2 of those 5 nodes will be pattern nodes, and the other 3 will be non-pattern nodes. By the way, I will explain a bunch of mechanics, and if this is too much, it's like, don't feel like it's not important if you don't understand all mechanics right now, because the game actually has a pretty in-depth and lengthy tutorial which will explain all the single mechanics again. So if you play through that, you will be fine afterwards. But I want to highlight all the mechanics here in this video anyway to give you a good overview. But I just mentioned this so you're not getting repeating the same part of the video over and over again, so you don't miss anything if I'm spamming you with too many information at once. So okay, let's talk about oh, don't grayed out. This is not solved yet. So there are obviously some with 3 circles as well and stuff like that. Then you might have noticed another mechanic are numbers on pattern nodes, which usually are they're always in brackets. Brackets are used in a different clue as well, which is actually not present in this level, but I might show you them later, but it's not, yeah. Let's not talk about them now. Let's talk about the ones on pattern nodes. So those were the numbers on non-pattern nodes. Now let's talk about the numbers on pattern nodes. Example, this 4 over here. So let's read the tooltip really quickly. The number of pattern nodes that still need to be reachable from this node by only visiting other pattern nodes is exactly 4. So what does this mean? If we start on this node and we hop from one node to another by only visiting pattern nodes, we have to reach another 4 pattern nodes total, exactly, not more, not less. So from this node we can go 3 directions, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one is blocked already because it's a revealed non-pattern node, so this is not a way we can go, so we cannot connect any pattern nodes in this direction. So we can go this way, this could be a pattern node, or we can go this way, this could be a pattern node as well. We have to connect 4 in total though. They don't have to be in one line, but they all have to be accessible from this one by only visiting other pattern nodes. So let's assume this one would be a pattern node. So we would go 1, where can we go from this node? We can't go there because of one-way direction. Same goes for this direction. So the only other node we can access from here would be this one, which we can access from here directly anyway. So if we assume this would be a non-pattern node, we have to go here, and then we're stuck. So if this would be a non-pattern node, this clue can never be fulfilled. So this has to be, we can deduce from this that this node has to be a pattern node. So we can reveal it by left-clicking, and it reveals another clue, which is actually not, it's kind of, no, it's in this specific situation, it's not additional information because it tells you the same thing as this one. 3 nodes from this one has to be connected. Actually, that's not true. It gives us extra information because if we take a look at this, so from this one we have to reach another 3 nodes. That's the same from here. However, every node that is reachable from here will be reachable from here as well. So, since this one is not connected to this one, I'm talking out of my ass. Forget what I said, but this can potentially be important anyway. So sometimes this gives you extra information, especially if they don't have the same number. So if there would be a 4 here, but a 3 here, that would mean that this one has to be connected to another node this one is not connected to. Keep in mind, this direction is a one-way direction, so it cannot go back to this one. If this would be a universal direction, or they would be connected via this node, for example, then obviously they would share all the same nodes they are connected to. But this is not necessarily the case because of the one-way direction. So this can give you extra hints, even if those hints look pretty double, like duplicated, like duplicates to each other. And in this case, they actually don't give me any extra information because the only other node this can connect to is this one, which will be connected to this one anyway. Actually, does this give me information? This actually gives me information. There we go. I was not talking out of my arse. It's just a different information than I thought. If we would connect this node, like if this would be a pattern node, then this one would get another one. So this would be connected to another node. So the 3 would go down to a 2. However, this would be connected to this one as well. So it would go down to a 2 as well. But it would additionally be connected to this one, which it was not prior to this one being revealed. So this would actually go down to a 1, and all of a sudden we have a paradox, and that cannot happen. So we can deduce from this actually that this is a non-pattern node. There we go. I was not talking out of my ass. Very good. So you can see you can make pretty complex assumptions in some situations. So we can mark this as a non-pattern node, and it reveals another clue. Oh, there we go. There's actually a non-pattern node with brackets in here. Cool. So I can explain that mechanic as well. So the pattern nodes, the numbers on the pattern nodes always have brackets. Yeah, let's continue talking about this really quickly first. So we have to connect those to 3 other nodes. So we can only go there or there. We can highlight it. It will show which nodes we can actually access from here. So we can go there, there. If we connect this one, then it's automatically connected to this one as well. So if we connect this one, we go down, we reduce the numbers by 2, which would be okay. And I think we actually have to do this because from here we're stuck again. If we go here, it only goes down to 2, and we cannot connect any more because this is a revealed non-pattern node. So is this is and this one as well, and this is unknown, but a one-way direction. So this might be a pattern node. We don't know yet, but we can we know for sure that this one has to be 1 because if not, those clues cannot be fulfilled. So this will also fulfill this clue. So because it can only be connected to 1 other pattern node. So let's click this. This one goes down to 0. Those go down to 1. So they can only be connected to 1 other node. And if you take a look at this one now, okay, this cannot be connected to another node. So this one, which will be accessible directly or indirectly from here, has to be a non-pattern node, or this one would be connected to too many nodes. So let's mark it as a non-pattern node and mark this clue as solved. And now it's pretty obvious which one has to be the last pattern node. It is this one, and we can mark those as solved as well. And now I revealed too many nodes, so I can't actually explain this mechanic too well anymore. Should we reset the level really quick? Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Okay, so we just redo this. Let's zoom in a bit and redo everything we did earlier. Oops, that happens when you misclick. By the way, so that was an error. It doesn't end the game, but it tells you did something wrong by flashing right. So we had this one and this one as non-pattern node. Okay, I think that's the spot we were in earlier. So okay, I explained the non-pattern nodes with numbers and blue circles already. Now there are some non-pattern nodes with blue circles and numbers with either brackets or dashes. No, not dashes. The horizontal dash, is it called a dash? I think it's called a dash. So two of them, left and right. So instead of the brackets, there sometimes are like little lines next to the number. Okay, let's remember what the number with the blue circle means on the non-pattern node. On a non-pattern node, the 2 tells us that 2 of the connected nodes, directly or indirectly, depending on the number of blue circles, will be pattern nodes. That's still true for the one with the brackets. So 2 of all of those, of the unrevealed nodes in this case, which are only 2, so it's obvious in this case, but let me explain it completely anyway. So 2 of those have to be pattern nodes. On top of that, all the pattern nodes that are connected, like that are in range 2 to this node, connected in like available or accessible in 2 steps from this node, all of them have to be connected. So there has to be one of them which, starting there, I have to be able to connect to get to all of the other ones by only visiting pattern nodes. So this is the case for this scenario, obviously. So if we reveal those 2. All of those 4 are connected not because I cannot access all of them from here. So this is not actually connected like this. I cannot go from here to there, but I can go, I can choose one of those 4, which are all the ones like highlighted by this clue. I connect all of those. I can choose one of them, which is this one, and I can reach all of them by starting here. And that fulfills the brackets condition. If there are dashes instead of the brackets, then it means that the opposite is true, and there must not be a node for which this is true. So there doesn't have to, like, there must not be a node which is connected to all of the others. So they have to be separated in some way or the other, which sometimes is kind of hard to figure out, but it's often a very powerful clue if you completely understand it and go into every detail of it. Anyway, in this case, it was very trivial because there were only 2 unrevealed nodes anyway. So yeah, that was pretty obvious. Let's, oh wait, is this, so, no, it's not completely solved yet. There we go, now it is. This one is as well. Okay, let's just, okay, let me explain the last mechanic, which are the colors, and then we just wrap this level up. So there are colors as well. So on some non-pattern nodes, there is a colored number, and the red 4 tells us it actually doesn't have anything to do with this node or connected ones to this one. It just tells us that all the nodes with the little green circle or dot, these ones, 4 of them will be pattern nodes, and the other ones will not be non-pattern nodes. And for the colors, the UI is very helpful again. It sums it up down here. So 3 out of the 8 blue colored nodes have to be pattern nodes because we have a blue 3 up here. 4 out of the 6 green nodes have to be pattern nodes, and for the 4 out of the 5 red ones have to be pattern nodes as well. And that's very useful. So the UI is very helpful. There are also 2 buttons down here. They don't really look like buttons, but basically there's, oops, didn't want to do that, but it was apparently right. There's this button. It highlights as soon as you highlight one of the clues. If you click it, it will disable all the clues. That's very useful if you clicked way too many. And there's also this button which will only light up if the puzzle just became trivial. So I'm not quite sure what the condition therefore is exactly, but if it gets really easy, the game just tells you click this and you're done. It's really easy now. I think if all the clues are like super directly solvable, like the 2 out of 2 clues and stuff like that. I think if all clues are like as trivial as 2 out of 2 or similar things, then this will light up and you can just press it, or you can just click it if you prefer clicking the things individually. Which is kind of fun actually because of the sound design of the game. I will shut up for a moment and I might increase sound volume. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do this easily. I will increase the sound volume and let you listen to it for a moment, and keep an ear, I guess, on the music, the background music, in combination with the sounds the notes make when you click them. Because I think it's very, very, the sound design is really good. It just fits together very, very well. So let me mute the microphone and increase game volume a little bit. and there's also that nice, like, it pops all the notes again when the level is finished. And then you get like a statistics screen with your score and stuff. The score was not good this time because it didn't perfected it. Well, it doesn't really give you a score, I think, somewhat. Like, it gives you XP, and it tells you how many mistakes you did and how much time you took. And also, it shows you the stats for your last few games, which is interesting. Not very useful, because, like, the levels are not comparable, because they are very, very different. But, it's kind of neat anyway to have the statistic. I guess it doesn't hurt. So it tells you how many mistakes you made on average per node. And it also tells you how long, like how many seconds you took per node. And yeah, it's kind of nice. Okay, let's talk about level design, because that's obviously very important for a game like this. Okay, so this is the main menu, by the way. Oops, no, that's not the main menu. What? Let's get out of here. There we go. No, that's not the main menu either. That's the main menu. There we go. So this is the main menu. And if you press the play button, you get into the level select menu. And this is, like, it's really weird because the in-game UI is so good and so slick and nice. The menu UI is terrible for some reason. Like, first, it looks like shit. Like, it looks like really, really badly put together. Like, this is programmer art, obviously. No UI designer saw this ever before release, I guess. So that's a little weird. Also, there are some, like, usability issues. The first one is a minor one. If you select a category and you click somewhere else, it will not deselect the category. So the category is still selected. You can see the levels here. You can see the name of the category here. They're called sequences. But the visual indicator disappeared. So this is how, when the visual indicator is there, and now it's gone. Which is a little weird. Not terrible, but it's a little strange. And what was the other issue? There was another issue with this, but I actually forgot it. Huh. Well, it can't have... I guess it was not too terrible, but there was another... I had another issue with the UI for some reason. What was it? Goddammit. Oh yeah, right. I remember. Okay, you cannot double-click a level. So this is a tutorial. The tutorial is 52 levels. If I select one of them, I would assume if I double-click, it starts a level, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. You have to press the play button down here, which is very inconvenient and very unintuitive in my opinion. But, okay, so the tutorial has 52 levels. I said earlier that it's very in-depth and lengthy, and, well, most of them, or a big chunk of them, are super trivial. Like, they're just demonstrating you a new mechanic. And the mechanics are introduced a little weird, because in most cases, it shows you a trivial level which uses the mechanic, but you don't need the mechanic to figure out the level. So it shows you the mechanic and explains it in a text, but you don't use the mechanic per se, because, like, you solve the level without... You can solve the level without understanding the mechanic. And in the level afterwards, it usually forces you to use the mechanic, which is a little weird way of doing a tutorial, but I guess it's not terrible. I would prefer, like, I think the game could just skip those tutorials, but, well, the trivial levels, I mean, the tutorial, and that would make the tutorial a little shorter, but, anyway. I liked the tutorial overall quite a bit. The trivial levels obviously were boring, but all of the others felt very well designed for teaching me the game and had interesting levels to play. They were not super hard, but they got a little bit more complicated towards the end, and they were fun to do, for me at least. And then I came back here and tried some of the other levels in those sequences, and I was hardly disappointed because I didn't like the level design of those at all. This is kind of personal preference. And don't turn the video off yet. I found a part in the game that is great fun to me anyway, and I will talk about that in a moment. But first let me talk about those levels, why I don't like them. So most of these, not all of them, but most of these levels are not of the way, like, not Minesweeper-esque, where you have a big puzzle and you solve it step by step. Like, you solve, like, you cannot figure out everything from the start because you don't have enough information, and then that's how you do it in Minesweeper, right? Or how we did it in the level I showed you earlier. You cannot solve it from the start because you don't have all information. So you start in one part of the level, and you have enough clues to reveal some of the notes there, and that gives you some extra information and helps you revealing other parts of the puzzle, and in total you figure it out step by step and get the whole picture in the end. And that's the way I like that's what I like in Minesweeper, and that's the levels that are designed like this in this game are like as well, and most of the tutorials levels are this way. So I like the tutorial, but most of the other levels are not designed in this way. Most of the other levels are like one big puzzle, or not necessarily big, but one one part puzzle where you have to like take a look at the whole thing, try to understand all the clues and put them together and solve it in one piece. And as like you solve it in your head, and when you have the solution laid out, you just click it down. So there's no step-by-step solving. It's like a one-time solving or one-part solving. I think the level 4 of Colorful was actually a good level to demonstrate that, if I remember correctly. Let me take a look. Yeah. This is a good example. Like, none of those parts, not 2 or 3 clues combined, will give you enough information or to reveal any of the nodes. So you have to understand the whole pattern of the puzzle to solve it. At the moment you understood the puzzle, I at least assume, I actually didn't solve this yet, because I don't like those kind of puzzles. At the moment you understood the whole puzzle, you can just click down all the nodes and you're done. And that's not necessarily bad puzzle design, it's just not the kind of puzzle design I like. As mentioned, I prefer the step-by-step solving thingy. So I was heartfully disappointed because, as mentioned earlier, most of the levels in this sequence block are of the one-step solution puzzles. And so I didn't have fun with them at all. There are Steam Workshop puzzles, by the way. There's a level editor. You can get levels from Steam Workshop as well, which is cool. That's always a good feature for a puzzle game to have. And I was almost like, I was at a point where I was okay, I'm done with this game. This is really, really disappointing, very sad. Why is this not more fun to me? And then I remembered there's a play random levels button. And that one is great choice to me. This is really, really cool. That's one of the levels I showed you earlier, was one of the randomly generated ones. You can choose from different categories: circles, full grids, full hex grids, random circles, random hex grids, triangle free, wheels, stuff like that. And they will give you a short description up here, and they usually tell you how hard those puzzles will be on average as well. So wheels, for example, are usually easy to medium difficulty, while I think triangles are extremely difficult. And yeah, wait, which other one? I think I showed you a full hex grid. No, a random hex grid, right? It doesn't actually have a difficulty for those. And then you have a bunch of different settings you can choose from. So you can activate hardcore mode. In hardcore mode, you lose the level. There's a typo, by the way. That's the most common typo non-English speakers do when they write English. If you write lose with two O's, it doesn't mean losing the game. It means it's to lose in comparison to be too tight. Losing the game is written with one O, but okay. Grammar Nazi aside, you lose the level immediately when you make a mistake, so don't. You also do not earn rank points unless you finish a level, in which case you get a bonus. So that's kind of interesting. Not really, like, it feels weird to the game, but I guess it's the super extra challenge. If you make a mistake, you lost the level instantly, and you have to go to the next one, which is kind of neat. You can save seeds for a level, so you can reproduce them. They will always tell you the seed in the upper right of the screen. Actually, it will tell you a little more about than that. I will tell you in a moment. Then you can either deselect the size option, which means it will be a random size, or you can activate it and choose a size, and then all the puzzles will be around that size. And that size means like 100 is maximum size and 0 is minimum size. It's not a number of nodes or something along those lines. It's a percentage, but usually keep it off. Also, you can choose a difficulty. I didn't have too many problems with with maximum difficulty. I guess a few of them were pretty hard. Like, I didn't solve all of them, but most of them were enjoyable, so I liked the high difficulty. Also, what is this again? Disable connectivity information that sometimes accompanies radius information. Not actually sure what this does, to be honest. I'm not sure what this does at all. Connectivity information. It might be the clues on the pattern nodes with the brackets. Or it's just the brackets and the dashes on the non-pattern nodes. That might be it. What is min radius? Oh yeah, this is like, so you can like set different settings for the clues. So this is like, you can change what the clues will have radiuses for example, like the non-pattern, the blue circles basically. And you can turn off various other clues: no component information, random color distribution, which means the colors will not be like in groups, they will be spread out over the whole puzzle. And max number of colors per node, prefer component information. What's that again? When enabled, the random level generator will prefer to add more component information to the puzzle. Okay, fair enough. So this is just a switch, like put more of these in here. Well, I'm not quite sure what component information are exactly though. Might be the clues in general, so it might just put more clues in the level with this, potentially. No reveal pattern nodes. Instructs the level generator to not reveal. Oh yeah, this is the one, like basically you can turn off the Minesweeper mode. If you activate this one, there will be no clues revealed while you play. All the clues available will be visible from the start. So I personally would never turn this on, but that's my personal preference. And also you have the level descriptor thing down here. This is important because the seed is not actually describing the full level. The level descriptor is, however. This is a very long alphanumerical key, as you can see, and describes the whole level. So if you copy that and give this to someone else, he can put it in his game and get the same level. And that's important because the seed is only unique if you set up all the other settings the same way. So the seed is only unique for this combination of settings. If you change any of them, the same seed will create a different level. And also different, like you have different crits over here as well. Or not crits, different graphs over here as well. So keep that in mind. That's another way of changing the levels. But if you have the level descriptor, it will be unique for the level and it will recreate the same level over and over again every time. And you can get it by clicking on it up here, actually. You see the seed here, if you left click, it will copy the seed to your clipboard, and you can paste it in a text file or a forum or whatever. Okay, yeah, you can see this is the same level we played earlier. So let's go back to the main menu and take a look at the settings menu and then wrap this up. There's language options, only German and English available. I think the developer is German. And there's the setting menu, which I wanted to talk about, which is actually pretty good. There's first, this is a Unity game with a Unity launcher. So before you start the game, you get the Unity launcher with resolution options, a bunch of graphics presets, and window and full screen mode. As usually for a Unity game, no borderless window mode, unfortunately, which is quite a shame. But besides that, it's pretty decent. And then you have this giant thing of a menu, which is pretty good. So you have separate sound sliders. You can change various like graphical things like contrast and glow, how quickly you zoom in and out, and you can invert the mouse buttons. Like, you don't have any hotkeys on the keyboard, so inverting the mouse buttons is as close as you get to key rebindings, I guess. And you can invert the mouse buttons like for the different mechanics as well. So this is for the reveal. So if you click this, the right click will be pattern node, left click will be non-pattern node, and this one will be like if you left click a revealed node already, it usually shows the clue and highlights it, and right click hides it, and you can invert it here. So that's a really cool level of customizability. So that's really nice. Disable mouse scrolling, alternative component highlight. I think that changes what does this do actually? When highlighting the nodes affected by component information, by default all nodes reachable from component at most n plus 1 steps are marked, whereas number on the nodes. With this setting, only nodes reachable in at most n steps are marked. Okay, yeah, this is useful for like the connectivity clues. But yeah, you can change a lot of stuff here, let's just say that. Can take a look here, you can cap the frame rate or not if you don't want to. I capped it before recording purposes. There's no need to run this game at 120 FPS. So yeah, it might be good to like slow down your graphics card a little bit. You can disable the scoring system if you want to. Oh, it's actually disabled. That's why we didn't got a score. I thought it was enabled. I apparently disabled it on accident. Or this might be a default setting, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure how the scoring works. It tells you somewhere, but I'm actually not quite sure where right now. I'm not really interested in scoring, so I don't really bother. You can change if it runs in continuous running and in the background and stuff like that. Disable all the tooltips. Bunch of stuff here. This is really crazy. What is long hints? This will use an alternative way to display information where everything is presented via text. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. I want the like numbers and circle thingies. That's if you understand them, that's way more convenient, I guess. You can change, like you can resize the UI as well and change the size of the tooltips. You can change everything here. This is really great. And if you're colorblind, you can change all the colors as well, or if you want some fancy color scheme, even if you're not colorblind. So this option menu is like bombastic. Like for a game graphically and mechanically simple as this one, this settings menu is just mind-blowing. Like it's like actually overkill. It's nice to have all of this, but I guess you could strip away half of it and would not really be that big of a deal. It's nice to change the UI scale and have like the color things, but a lot of the other stuff seems like a little overkill. But it doesn't hurt that it's in there. So options are always good. I don't say take it out. Never ever say do that. I like more options. More options is always good because options don't hurt. But this is an impressive amount of options for a game like this. So kudos for that, I guess. Anyway, it's Patterna. I really don't like the pre-designed levels except for the tutorial ones, but I really enjoy playing the random level editor, the random levels. And however, I'm not a huge puzzle game player on PC. What I would like to see, and I think that would work quite a bit, is this game on my phone. I think there is a tablet version for it, but unfortunately not for phones. I would love to play this on the toilet, on the train, on the bus, in the car, like not when I'm driving, obviously. Stuff like that, while I'm waiting for something, like in between. And because when I'm on my PC, I usually play other games. Like there's so many games in my library, I usually don't play like little puzzle games. But I love to play games like this on my phone. So I would instantly buy a copy of this if it would be available for my phone. So yeah, unfortunately it isn't right now. Maybe it's planned for the future. As said, there is a tablet version, but I guess they couldn't figure out a way to display this on a smaller screen properly. I think it should be possible. And the controls is obviously not an issue at all. You just do click and hold for a little longer. Well, they probably have that figured out already for if they have a tablet version. I might mix that up there. I'm not 1% sure if this has a tablet version. I think it does though. If not, I will probably, if there's no tablet version, there will probably be a big annotation on the screen right now which tells you that I'm an idiot and there is no tablet version. But I think there is one. Anyway, it's called Patterna. The links where you can get it are in the description below. Steam, itch.io, or the developer's website. Will also be a link to the demo if you want to try that. And keep in mind, I have a giveaway if you're quick enough after release of this video. I quite enjoy it. I'm TH Pine. Thanks all for watching. Have fun and see you next time.